Hi everybody, I hope that you're all doing well today. This week we are celebrating the Parsha of V'eschanan. So there's a beautiful teaching that relates to the words Ukshartam la'ot al yadacha v'hayula totafot bein einecha, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for a reminder between your eyes. This is from this week's Parsha. It's about controlling your mind and heart. The Torah commands us to wear tefillin, comprised of the tefillin shel yad on the arm and the tefillin shel rosh on the head. The Torah's wording indicates that the mitzvah to don the tefillin shel yad is observed actively. You shall bind them upon your arm, whereas the mitzvah to wear tefillin shel rosh is observed passively. They shall be between your eyes on your head. This implies that the mitzvah of tefillin shel rosh on the head is fulfilled continuously for as long as the tefillin is on the head, and the mitzvah of tefillin shel yad requires and is limited to the act of binding. The distinction reflects the intended effect of the mitzvah of tefillin on the person wearing the tefillin. In the words of the Shulchan Aruch, God commanded that one should place the arm tefillin near the heart and the head tefillin over the brain, so that he shall submit to God his soul that is in the brain and his heart that is the seat of his desires and thoughts. Therein lies the difference between the tefillin of the arm and the tefillin of the head. For as explained in Tanya, the average person can choose the ideas that will occupy his mind, but cannot necessarily influence the desires that his heart will desire, right? Like we can control somewhat our mind and our thoughts, and we can direct our thoughts, but the heart and the impulses, they just come up. How do we control our feelings? We can restrain ourselves from acting on our impulses, but with the exception of tzaddikim, the perfectly righteous, we have limited influence over our hearts themselves. One's mind is under his control, and with it he can meditate as he pleases on any subject. However, it is not a very near thing to change one's heart from worldly desires to a sincere love of God, i.e., to constantly feel drawn toward that which is holy and repulsed by anything unholy. So what this is saying is that we can control our minds, but not our hearts. Accordingly, we are commanded to bind the tefillin shel yad near our hearts, actively. We might not be capable of influencing our heart's desires to be as pure as they should be, but we are enabled and obligated to work on restraining them if they are not. The tefillin shel rosh, however, must be upon our heads, because its desired effect should be perpetual and constant. Since we are capable of controlling our conscious thoughts, our minds can indeed be consistently devoted to God. So let this be a reminder for us that we have the power to affect our mind and our hearts, and it's in our power. It's in our power to very actively promote a peaceful, positive mindset. It's in our power to promote positive, happy feelings. We can cultivate feelings in our minds and in our hearts to be positive and happy and peaceful and loving and grateful and content. So it's really up to us, and we have the power with our minds and our hearts. And that's a little bit of a sign of the tefillin, which is about binding the arm and the head. Now you might wonder, if you're a Jewish woman like me, why don't we wear tefillin? Why don't we have this mitzvah of binding the psalm on our heads and on our arms? And the answer is because women are spiritually more attuned, and we have the power to naturally be close to God without necessarily putting on a physical reminder on our minds and on our arms, because we have it naturally within us. So if you go to any synagogue on the weekday, you'll see the men with the tefillin wrapped around and the head tefillin wrapped around their heads, and they need a physical constant reminder because men are somewhat more physically oriented and need that physical reminder. And for women, we have it naturally. We're happily connected to God no matter what. So I want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. And whether or not you're wearing tefillin, we all have it in our power to be inspired and to keep our minds and our hearts aligned with godly purpose and connection. So wishing you all from Singer Island and the beaches a Shabbat Shalom. And I hope you have a great week. Bye. Thanks for watching.